and my DePaul Recommender Systems class. This is Jackson again, running you through my global bias recommender system, my implementation of it. So started off with the matrix factorization recommender, which is this guy, and I adopted it to suit my needs. So there are only a few changes that were necessary for this. This wasn't really necessary, but I removed it anyway, this original regularization bias. I added in 2 regularization bias terms instead of just 1. I added in a term for the global user regularization bias and another for the item. And I set a default value, but I ended up tweaking those. I kind of just added the default value to go along with the regularization bias that was already there. So I could have deleted these. I didn't, because we're not using these. Sorry, not the user bias. Never mind. That's actually fine. What I was talking about actually was this, that I did remove because it's no longer needed. And these are the factors for the user and the item, the user and item factor. These terms aren't needed because we're not using them. We're solely training our model based on the bias terms. And so our prediction here also does not include the user or the item factors in the prediction. Instead, it is just using the sum of the user biases, and the item biases, and the global mean. The user and item biases are the same as they were before, except for now they are using the global regularization bias instead of the original term. And that occurs here and here for the user, and it happens on the computation of the loss and on the computation of the new bias for the item as well. So that's the whole kit and caboodle. This is my properties class. I stuck with a maximum number of iterations of 500. After tweaking it around a bunch, I ended up with a global user term of 0 and a global item term of 1 and a learning rate of 0.0005. And I found that I didn't need to use this, so I just commented it out. The rest was from the original 5-factor, the k-folds training properties file. So here is the execution of it. So you can see I'm using this global bias properties file, which is the one we see here. And again, we can also see the important part too is that we're using this global bias recommender here, which is the one that I just showed you. So here it is running. We can see it's doing k-folds, the 500 iterations. This is a lot faster because it doesn't have to compute a whole lot. And we see our performance isn't bad. So that's the video. Thanks for watching.